I'm going to show you how to make our signature guilt-free salad cake. The first thing you need is a cake mix flavor of your preference. It can be organic, gluten-free, regular, any flavor. It doesn't matter. So one of the nice things is this is so guilt-free that you can eat this for breakfast and give it to your kids, and it's healthier than most breakfast cereals. So you want to shake up the box because the things settle at the bottom. You want it evenly blended. The nice thing is we only need half of a cake mix. So what I've done is I've already made one of these cakes. So I squeeze in the middle and dump. So for the first cake, you just do the top half, hold the bottom half down. We're using the second half of this cake mix. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Now the thing to be careful of is if you use too many vegetables, you'll have pudding. We don't want that. We have the number 1 cone on, we've got some cabbage, and you can use any vegetables you have lying around. You're going to end up with about 2 1/4 cup of vegetables. If you do much more than that, you will have chocolate pudding instead of chocolate cake. And what I'm doing here, not that you have to, but I recommend picking out the big chunks that fall in the way because you don't want to create texture. The key is hide those veggies, right? Now, I just put cabbage in. Now, we don't recommend that you do that when you and try this recipe in the oven. It just won't work. It'll actually smell and taste like Brussels sprouts on steroids. Your kids will come home and they'll run away from you. So you don't want that to happen. So I just put a small carrot. And you're never going to believe these are going to boost your metabolism. So you can put 2 or 3 of these radishes in. They're also good for fighting cancer and fighting allergies. But how cool is it to know you can eat dessert and raise your metabolism? The nice thing is diabetics can eat this without any sugar increase. I've been cooking for 10.5 years. No diabetic has ever needed to take insulin. And many of them have confessed after I left that they've had another piece, if not 2. Now I'm putting the celery in the back because the bitter part is the strings, and that's why some people won't eat celery, but we always tell people there's no strings attached, so it's one of our better jokes. But celery is great for lowering blood pressure and calming the nerve endings from pain. Now, since we only used half of a cake mix, we used 1.5 eggs. So there's the first one, and here's the other half. And by the way, there's a lot of calcium in the eggshells, so what we do is we just crack through it. No, I wasn't going to put the eggshell in. So what I did is I used the inside half and I threw the outside half away, and that is our recipe. So, do you notice I left out the water? I left out the oil. I looked up how many calories are in a 1/2 cup of oil and how many fat grams. There are over 750 calories and 105 grams of fat in 1/2 cup of oil. Isn't that crazy? So look at the calories we just saved you in the fat grams. So here we see we have more salad than we have cake mix easily. And you're simply going to mix it all together. Now, because we can bake on top of the stove and don't need a hot oven, it is not going to take 35 to 40 minutes on a medium-high setting. We don't even have to preheat anything. So I'm going to lightly spray my 9-inch skillet. And the only reason I do that is because I want to take this out while it's still hot, and I'm going to need that to help release it. My understanding is if you are patient and let it cool all the way, it naturally shrinks away from the edges and it'll come out that way. So you actually shouldn't even need to do that. So here we are at the stove. We're going to cover this. Now instead of medium, click low. Here's a little rhyme. Think of baking, think of dough. Medium low for dough. So I'm going to go somewhere above low, but below medium. The nice thing is this recipe for a dessert literally took me about maybe 4 minutes. And it should be baked in about 15 to maybe 18 minutes. And I'll show you what we're looking for when it's done. So it's been about 17 minutes and it looks dry, but when I lightly touched it, it actually is not firm. I don't know if you can tell that, but it's a little wet. So we need to give it a little longer. If you're on an electric stove, I recommend at this point you turn off your heat and possibly even slide the cake off of the heat, knowing the heat continues to emanate so you don't accidentally burn the cake. Good news is when it doesn't transfer the burn flavor throughout the rest of the cake. In fact, if you do have it on medium, you will burn the cake. Remember, this is baking, not cooking. Okay, so this is an extra 2 minutes later, and I'm lightly touching it, and it's totally firm in the center. Done. Heat off and let it sit for about a minute or two, and then we're going to take it out onto a plate and frost it. So I've taken it off the stove, attached the handles. I'm going to take my spatula, go around, shake it both directions, flip it on my hand, check for burning. There's a slight burning. You can either cut it off and not taste it, or don't eat the bottom. And the finishing touch, take your favorite chocolate bar if you like, and I'm using a 72% dark chocolate with espresso beans. Just need a small section, and I'm going to place it on top. It's been a couple minutes, and look at this. Now, it doesn't have to be a chocolate bar. It doesn't need anything to taste good. It honestly tastes great on its own. Some people like to sprinkle a little bit of light dusting of powdered sugar, and there you have it. And here's the finished product. And the best part is your kids will fall in love with vegetables and they won't even know it. The other thing is you won't believe how moist this is. Not a drop of water or oil. And your kitchen stayed cool because we didn't even need the oven. Enjoy.